My mom made the journey to Brazil and start a life from scratch. She left Cuba, and well, it hasn't been easy at all. Emigrating never is. Today, she's going to tell you a little bit more about her experience, about her life, her new life in Brazil. So stay tuned for this video. Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Anita Mateu from Cuba, living in Galicia. Please subscribe and help this family grow. I'm excited to maybe reach 1 million one day. Will I make it? I don't know, it's hard to grow on this platform. Well, as you read in today's title, today I'm going to be interviewing my mom in Brazil. My mom, as you know, emigrated to Brazil. My mom and some of my siblings from my mom's side, she's going to be telling us a little more about her experience emigrating to Brazil. Why Brazil? I sent her a list of questions to answer, which I'll show and ask during the interview. Mainly, I'll cover her initial culture shocks, what she liked about Brazil and what she hasn't liked so far. How is life for her over there? And that's what we're going to be doing in today's video, because many of you have asked me and many of you want to know about my mom. So I hope you like it, enjoy it, and give it a like for my mom. I would really appreciate it. And of course, someday you'll see me in Brazil. Why not? I'm a Spanish citizen now, my love, and I want to visit Brazil, especially since my mom lives near Rio de Janeiro. The culture and food look amazing. I've researched it, and their cuisine is a lot like Cuban food, right? Very similar. By the way, since I came from Cuba, my house is a bit of a mess. I have clothes scattered everywhere, but the good news is I already have a new washing machine. Thank you, washing machine. Well, it's washing my clothes. It's an LG. I bought it at Carrefour. The washing machine I had came with the apartment and was left by the landlord. It's from a brand called Bico, I think. That's how it's spelled. I called a technician because I wanted to see if my washing machine could be repaired before buying a new one, like in Cuba, where we just keep fixing things. I don't think these countries are set up for repairs. You can't find washing machine technicians. It was hard for me to find one, and even then, it took him a month to come fix it. The washing machine, I've been using the laundromat all this time. Not having one is really inconvenient. I waited for that person to come and fix it, and the technician told me I think it's the motor and it costs about 200 euros to fix it. And besides, this brand, Beko, breaks down a lot because of that, because of the motor. It's not a very durable brand. If you want a long-lasting washing machine, buy another brand. I don't know, Samsung, Bosch, which is a good brand. So I went to the stores to check the quality and price to see what I could find, and I bought one. That one's LG. From what I know, LG is a good brand. I've seen many LG products and recognize the name. I asked artificial intelligence and it told me that good value for the money was a good option so it would last longer. But guess what, honey? Then my dryer broke. Fortunately, it's warm in Galicia, so my clothes dry quickly. But I'm gonna see if I can save up a little. And now I'll buy myself a new dryer because guess what? My dryer is also Beko brand, so maybe it just died. I think it doesn't heat up. I think the heating element broke or something like that. I found a Bosch dryer, which is a great brand, and added it to my cart. I'm recommending it if you're looking for a washer, dryer, or similar appliance. Don't buy the Beko brand, it won't last long. Buy the Bosch brand. That's the one I've been told is really good, like the motor is the best. And another thing I have to do these days is send this little box to Cuba. I'm not going to make a specific video about sending a package to Cuba, nothing like that, but I'll quickly show you a few little things I'm going to send to my nephews. I'm sending my sister some clothes and a few small things I set aside for them. I'm sending this box with Bodega Express, my friend's shipping service in the Canary Islands. I use them for sending things to Cuba, since many people ask me about it. I always recommend them. I'll send this box to the Canary Islands and they'll deliver it to my family. But look at what I'm going to send to my nephews. I'm going to send my nephews a Buzz Lightyear costume. They love it. It's from the official Disney store and the quality is amazing. And I'm going to send it, and to my niece I'm going to send the Jessie cowgirl costume. But look how beautiful this is, everyone. Look, this is like Jessie's shirt, Jessie's pants. It's just that they love these little characters. My sister puts on the classic cartoons we used to watch as kids, and they're fans. And even Jessie's little boots. Let's see if she dresses up. She wants, like for her birthday, which is in September, to dress up as a character. And well, it could be to dress up as Jessie. And even the hat, 2 hats, in case both of them want a hat. I have 2 here, and well, I have to take this little box to them today. I also want to send them some other small things. I still need to buy shoes and a few other items, but I want to send this now so it reaches them maybe by next month. These are some of the little questions I gave my mom to answer. What has been the hardest thing in these 2 months living in Brazil? What has surprised you the most so far? How have you felt about the language? Language is an important factor. Remember that in Brazil they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. And I imagine that the language barrier is complicated, especially for them since they don't speak any Portuguese. Have you experienced any awkward or funny moments because you didn't understand the language? What are the biggest differences you notice between life in Cuba and Brazil? I'm really interested in this. I haven't watched my mom's video yet, even though she sent me her answers. So I'll be reacting with you all because I don't know. What do you miss most about Cuba right now? Well, I do know some stories and things she's told me, but I have to tell you something because she answered these questions for me some time ago. And since then, well, she may have had other experiences. Something that happens when we migrate is that at first we see everything as beautiful, we're kind of a little out of touch with reality. And in that haze of wow, everything is new, so much food, so many things, everything works in a new country, a bit like it's better than ours. We're kind of in that initial fantasy. But then you start to clash a bit with reality, that this country may be better and work better than ours because of the way it functions. I don't know. There comes a time when reality starts to hit us a little harder. Whether it's the paperwork as a migrant, life as a migrant, the language, in this case that it's not your country, that you start to miss it. At some point you start to feel strange, you start to wonder if it was worth it or not. No, I think everyone goes through a phase where everything seems beautiful at first, then there's an emotional slump, and finally we adapt and accept that this is our reality, our decision, and the life we must live. So I still don't know what stage my mom is in. I don't know how she's going to approach her questions, but I do know she went through something the other day. Well, a situation because of the language barrier mainly, and also not knowing how to handle paperwork in this new country. It affected her a little because she told me about it, and also mom is very sharp, and in Cuba she was very, very, very sharp and knew how to get things done. But in a new country sometimes we can't be so sharp because things are different. We have to adapt, we have to see how things work, and we have clashes and we don't know how to do things and we feel frustrated because we can't do things. And it's something that I have also experienced in Spain, feeling frustrated because I can't do this paperwork. I have to look for help from someone else because I don't know how. That's something we all go through, and you should know that we all go through it. I told her it's normal and happens to everyone, so she shouldn't feel bad. Yesterday wasn't great for her, but she recorded and sent me these videos about a week ago. Let's watch her answers, and I'm not going to talk anymore because I'm sure you're all thinking, why do you keep talking and not show your mother? Who is the one we want to see? Well, I'm going to show her now.
In Cuba, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have good food, we didn't have anything. But I had built a life in the city where I lived, 23 years of marriage, and we had a house. We had the comforts that we had been able to provide for ourselves and that others had helped us get, and it was quite difficult to let go of all that. To pack your life into a backpack and start from scratch, I thought that hadn't affected me. Arriving here with nothing, with a backpack, with only what you decided to pack, whatever would fit, and you arrive here with nothing. So what about rent? Thank God I had people who welcomed me and who had kept a lot of things for me so I could start my life. But here in Brazil, rental properties are handed over completely empty. You just get the roof, walls, and floor. But mine, for example, didn't even have light bulbs or anything. It just didn't have light bulbs. You can imagine that it didn't have a refrigerator, it didn't have a stove, it didn't have beds, it didn't have anything. So for someone who comes without anyone to help them, and even with someone helping you and having to start everything from scratch, it's pretty complicated. I was lucky that I had friends, very close friends, a big group of my friends who supported me. A refrigerator, a stove, the gas, beds, mattresses, sheets, cutlery, beds, pans for cooking, towels, toiletries, food. And then everything you need, the luxuries come later, but everything you need to start. I had it, but it was pretty hard to see my whole house turned upside down. As someone who loves order, I have nowhere to put things and just wait to see where they end up. For example, a wardrobe, because at first we didn't have one, but Brazilians are wonderful. And here near home, there was a man who was giving away a wardrobe, a huge wardrobe, and my friend who hosted me at her house. When I arrived, she knew about it. They went to get it, and I was able to organize my clothes a little. But even now, I have things stored in boxes, things that were given to me, so I didn't have to buy clothes. I have many things stored in boxes. I haven't been able to organize and put things in my house, each one in its place like I'm used to. I have no way to organize. And it's not that easy to buy those things because you have to pay rent, you have to pay for water, you have to pay for electricity, and you have to buy food. And when you start out, you start with minimum wage. In fact, the first one who started working was me, with a salary of 1,600 reais a month for a family of 5. And only about 15 or 20 days later did my wife, my husband, and my son start working, so I couldn't buy anything, nothing for the house. It was simply about surviving there until everyone started working and the household economy stabilized. And then you can start having the same comforts you had when you were in Cuba. Of course, absolutely, I'm fortunate to have electricity and water, and I can buy things with my salary. It's not like in Cuba where it was very hard to buy a wardrobe or a bed. Here you can buy those things with your salary. But you have to prioritize the most important things and get them little by little. And it was pretty hard for me since I love order so much to see everything turned upside down. But now, more or less, things have started to settle down. I can't say that all Brazilians are the same because I live in one city and Brazil is huge. But what has really surprised me is that Brazilians are wonderful. They're very supportive. They're very helpful. When I arrived, for example, in one of the many hotels, two hotels, in the second hotel where I stayed, I had a lot of dirty clothes. And I asked where I could do laundry, and they showed me where one was. When I got to the laundromat, it turned out that you had to pay by card, and what I had was cash. And a young man told me, "I'll pay for you," in perfect Portuguese, which I understood perfectly well. He paid for my laundry, and when I tried to give him the money, he told me no. But the clothes came out damp, so they had to go in the dryer, but I didn't have a way to pay for that because it had to be paid by card. But since he was still in the process and his cycle hadn't finished yet, he asked me, "Are you going to dry your clothes?" I told him I wanted to, but couldn't because I had to take them now. He insisted, put them in the dryer for me, and explained what to do when they were done since he was leaving. He even paid for me, and it wasn't a small amount. Now I realized that it wasn't a small amount of money he spent so I could wash my clothes. And like that, other things happened to me, like they would look for ticket deals for you so it would be cheaper. That's when I took the last bus I took to get to the city of Rio de Janeiro. I wasn't going to the provincial capital. I wasn't going to Rio. I was going to a town just before Rio, and the bus would pass by the edge of the town. And the agent at the place where I bought the ticket told me, "Let's talk to the driver," which is what they call bus drivers here, "and he can drop you off." The people picking me up were waiting, so I didn't have to go to Rio de Janeiro. They stopped me mid-route, let me off the bus, and the driver was very nice and attentive. And that's how it's been with the people I came to work with. They have helped me a lot. They've given me hangers to hang my clothes. They've given me bags. The supermarkets haven't surprised me, even though there's something I wasn't used to seeing. Because I had seen them in videos and I knew what a supermarket was like. What has surprised me is that I can shop at the supermarket, that I earn my own salary. And when the time comes to buy groceries for the house, I go to the supermarket with my cart, something I had never done in my life, and I can put things in the cart. And that really does surprise me, you know. Of course, with Portuguese, it's crazy. It's really crazy because Portuguese is a language that has many words similar to Spanish. Do you ever think you understand them but actually don't understand anything? So at first I made an effort to try to understand what they were saying to me, and my head would it didn't hurt, but it was a weird feeling like I was dizzy, but then I was like, and then as the days go by, you start realizing that you're understanding a little bit more. You study because you have to learn the language, and there comes a moment when you realize that you're daring to say things in Portuguese. But there comes a moment when you start to get the hang of it, you already realize what they're telling you. And the other thing is that I had never dared to speak another language before. For example, I know a lot of English in my head because, I studied it in college. The books were in English, and I had to read literature in English, translate and write summaries and things like that. But I never dared to speak English because I couldn't get used to moving my mouth that way. It's different from how you move it in Spanish. But here you have to be brave because you're in a country where the language is Portuguese and you have to just go for it. It's an awkward moment with the language. Well, a few days ago I had to go to the doctor because I wanted primary care. I wanted to make an appointment to get my eyes checked, my vision. Because these glasses were made for me in Cuba. They charged me 10,000 pesos and didn't do anything useful, and they bother me a lot. I want to get new glasses. But you have to go to the health center so the primary care doctor can give you a referral, which here they call an encaminamiento, to the ophthalmologist. From there, I left with a full checkup and then I went to get my blood test done. Suddenly, it all stops. A person explains something that I didn't know what it was. And you have to guess based on what other people are doing, what you have to do yourself. Until I finally got the blood test, but it was quite uncomfortable. And the only difference I find between the life I had in Cuba and the life I have in Brazil is the time in Cuba. The ones who worked in the family were my husband and my son. I worked too, but my job was cleaning a hair salon in the morning. And then I would go home and I had a lot of time to do things around the house, to take care of the family, to go see my grandchildren, for everything. And here, my time is reduced because I have to work from 7 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Although I never finish at 4, I always finish earlier. But when I get home, I have to do everything. I have to cook, I have to clean if something needs to be cleaned. Sometimes I have to do some laundry. Until the other day, I was washing all the clothes by hand because I didn't have a washing machine, but now I do, and that saves me a lot of time. And when we realize it, it's already 10 at night and it's time to go to bed. Other than that, the meals here are pretty similar. At least where I live, we eat mostly rice, beans, salads, and meats. They cook the meats pretty much the same way we do in Cuba, although they call them by a different name. I've really missed the food. I love it. And besides, they cook very well. At least the Brazilian women who cook at my restaurant, their food is really delicious. Here comes the tough question. What do I miss? The only thing I miss? Leaving my house at 3 in the afternoon to pick up my granddaughter from daycare, walking and talking with her because she's very talkative, all the way to her house. Staying there for a while, waiting for my daughter to arrive with my other grandchild. Spending some time at my daughter's house, having coffee together, talking, and then going back home. That used to take me about 3 hours. Those were the happiest 3 hours of my life, and now they're gone. That's the only thing I miss.